And Santa.
I just hope you guys don't say I'm a better Santa Claus. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, you come out here and see how excited the kids get. And it really makes you appreciate what we get to do. I mean, they come in here and they look at the stadium and they see Santa Claus, they get excited. And sometimes we take it for granted. We get to come out here every day and play big league baseball.
How's the knee feeling?
Which one? It feels great, man. It feels great. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. I'm done with my rehab, and now we're really into the strength phase. So I'm cutting, I'm running. It feels great. I always, unfortunately, since I've been through this before, I always have that one cut that I need to make to trust it again. I had that a couple of weeks ago, and I feel great. So knees feel good.
Going into spring training this year, it seems like you're just going to be specifically concentrating on second base instead of having to worry about left field or third base or first base. Can you talk a little bit about that? And is it easier now, kind of going into the spring, knowing that you're going to be focused on really one position?
It's nice to know that there's going to be one, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to work at the other ones in case something happens. B, it doesn't mean I'm not going to work. I still got a lot of work to do at second base. There's a lot of room for improvement, and so that's what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I was kind of monitoring what was going on with Posey and seeing what would happen. And my understanding now is that I'm going into spring training as a second baseman or with a good chance to win the job. Now I got to get as comfortable as I can.
Defensively at second, what do you think is the area you need to work on the most? Is it range, moving to left or right, or is it the double play?
It's always going to be the double play.
Okay.
I think because it's the only play in baseball that you have to make with your back to the runner, which is the play. It's the only one where I've got to catch the ball, I got to make a throw, and I can't see what's coming at me. So I got to get more comfortable with that. I'm not going to sit here and say that I feel great every single day at it, but I feel 100 times better now than I did a year ago going into this with all the work we were able to do.
What about on your offensive game? You see how the fences have been dropped and they're coming a little bit. Do you think you can see yourself hitting some more home runs this year?
I mean, I'd like to say yes, but at the end of the day, I'm going to try to hit the ball as hard as I can, as many times as I can, and if it happens to run out of real estate, that's kind of a bonus for me. But it's not a part of my game to go and try to hit home runs. But if I can consistently square the ball up, I think those will come.
Do you think there's anything you could have done? It was freak injuries that was in the back of the. Was there anything you felt you could have done to prevent them, or was it bad luck just happened to happen?
I think it was a little bit of, I'd say it was mostly bad luck, and then a little bit of I need to put myself in better positions to protect myself. I'm not going to sit here and say I had no fault in it, but I thought that both of the slides I got, one in AAA and the one this past year, it's kind of things that you can go a whole season without seeing. They happened to me twice, and the perception is going to be I keep getting whacked.
Were they clean? Were they both clean slides in your opinion?
The first one I didn't think was clean. The second one was clean. There's a guy who I played against. He's 31 years old with his first taste in the big leagues, and he played hard. And he just came in a little hot. I don't think it was that. I don't think there was anything malicious about it. He just came and got me, and learned from him, try to get myself in a better position going forward.
You feel that that's going to be something you're going to have to work on a lot this spring, on the pivot at second base?
It's something I always work on. The pivot is one of the things I focus on the most. Is the second, the double play pivot.
If you lead off, they've talked about possibly leading off. Would your approach change offensively, or you're a guy that you're going to be the same whether you're first, third, seventh?
I think that's it's got a little bit of a vague question because the approach is always going to be dictated on what's going on with the score in the game. So I'm really only going to lead off one at bat a game, and then after that, I'm going to let the game, the situation, the score kind of dictate from there. So I would say I don't. I'd like to see some pitches. First at bat of the game, my job is to see pitches and you can see the guys around me, can see what's going on and what his future is.
Do you set goals for yourself like 15 home runs, 80 RBIs, 300, or do you just kind of say, hey, I just want
95 wins, 100 wins. I want to win a pennant, man. There's no better place on earth to win than New York City, so it's about time to get to it.
It's like knowing you're I think fourth longest on the team behind David. It seems like you just got here. You didn't know that.
You didn't know that, huh?
Now that you know, what do you think? I mean, you're one of the veterans here.
Man, I tell you what, I still consider myself fairly young, so I think we got a nice young core group coming right now. Plus the fact that the guys you mentioned, with David, Johan, and Pelt, I'm excited for those guys. A nice young core group.
What's it going to be like playing against Jose Reyes after being his teammates?
It's gonna. It's it's gonna be different. Seeing him in a different uniform. when we play him, he's on the other side now. I love playing with him. He's one of the best teammates, one of the best guys I've ever had the good fortune of playing with. But he's a Marlin now. As far as I'm concerned, once the bell rings, you're on the other side. I'll go out and eat dinner with him if he wants to, but once the game starts, it's go time, and that's just kind of the way I view it.
Well, he can pick up the tab now for dinner, right?
I'll let him get it down in Miami.
You talk about, you say you have a young team and then want to win here. There's a lot of negativity around the team, especially coming from the mainstream guys who get paid to do this thing. How do you guys and your teammates, how do you stay above it? How do you guys stay positive? Saying, you know what, we're a good team, we're major leaguers, we can go out and win, we can win a division, we can be a winning ball club.
Hey, part of it is just trying to control the things you can control. Unfortunately, we can't control you guys, right? We can't control what's written out there. But as of right now, I can control my offseason. I get stronger, I get bigger, I get faster. And then, you start looking at the pieces. I mean, we scored like top 5, top 6 in runs last year. Our starters led the league. I think in starts made. R.A. Dickey had a great year. I'm a huge believer in Mike Belfry. Nice threw the ball well. Dylan G had a breakout year. And then you start looking at the bullpen. I mean, we made some adjustments down there. So with the pieces coming together, it's quickly forgotten that Ike Davis, who is a killer in my eyes, missed 4 months last year. He was some kind of locked in when he left. David missed 3. We saw how good he can be when he came back for the first, for that month or so, and then this year. So I think that's forgotten. There's some pieces here that if we can stay healthy. Man, I think we can really make a run.
One thing you've always been adamant about is that you can play defense. I remember you being on the fan with Francesa, and you started doing what you do about your defense. You're like, well, I beg to differ. I can play defense, and you're pretty confident. It's something you work on. You take pride in too.
No, absolutely. It's something that I'm not just going to get to hit for 162 games. I got to catch the ball, and especially playing up the middle. We get a double play ball from Mike Pelfrey in the 6th with 2 guys on. I gotta rock that pivot.
Does it bother you, the perception? Because that's something that's hammered home a lot on talk radio. That hey, you can't play defense.
It's no, it doesn't bother me at all. And I think with the small sample size of the second, I consider myself a pretty above average first baseman. Now I just have to get as comfortable at second as I feel at first base.
Hey guys, this is gonna be our last question, and then we have to.
You're going to go into spring training as the star, at least as most people think. And then there was rumors about a trade that the Dodgers were interested in. How does that feel?